Okay, go ahead and get into your meditative position, sitting or lying down, being mindful to strike a balance between relaxation and alertness. Not super alertness, but alert enough not to fall asleep if possible. And make sure that your spine is straight, the string at the top of your head pulling you up. Soften your gaze or close your eyes. Tuck your chin in just a little bit. Touch the tip of the tongue to the roof of your mouth to help with breathing. Rest your hands on your lap or by your side, palms facing up if you can, if that's comfortable for you. And we're just going to begin by noticing our breath wherever it is without trying to change anything yet. When you notice your mind wandering or it has wandered, it's been wandering, just gently note that you have been thinking and then turn your attention back to your breath without judgment or criticism over and over again, as many times as you need to. And every time you do so, that is a moment of mindfulness. Now let's take a moment to cultivate some gratitude for our lungs and having oxygen on the planet and having the ability to have all of our body function simply by this process of inhaling oxygen that's distributed through blood to all of our cells, allowing us to function. It's a pretty intricate and amazing thing that it goes so well most of the time, as well as any other everyday miracle that perhaps you don't think about because it's going well, which is our natural human tendency to not focus on the status quo when everything is running as it should. Now we're going to start to slow the breath down, lengthening your inhale. Inhale through the nostrils for now, and then go ahead and also exhale through the nostrils for now, making your exhale slightly longer than your inhale, warming up the breath, breathing from the diaphragm. And then we're going to add the Tonglen meditation, which I think I did with somebody. I think it was Simone who was here, but I don't know. My memory is terrible. But anyway, so what we're going to do with the Tonglen is when we inhale, we are going to inhale something that we need, like calm or clarity or peace, happiness, whatever it is that you really need in this moment. So you're going to imagine inhaling that as deeply as you need to inhale it so that you are fully taking it into your body. And then when you exhale, I want you to exhale something that you're going to let go of. It's not that you're trying to get rid of it, but you no longer need this thing. It has served its purpose. You've gotten the message. You've processed it. You have increased self awareness, and now it's time to let it go. It could be anger, it could be fear, it could be worry, it could be darkness, but usually they sort of work as opposites. So, for example, you can inhale light and you can exhale darkness. You can inhale clarity and you can exhale confusion. So, think about what you want to inhale and exhale, and then add that. And this time, when you exhale, because you're pushing out that thing, scooping it up from deep in your body, all the way up, 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 up until you get to your mouth and you're releasing it into the air. Then you want to take a big exhale through your mouth. So just do a few rounds of that. It can take longer than other times, depending on how deeply you are feeling burdened by the thing that you are trying to let go of. But it can happen fairly quickly. Now we're just going to check in and see where things are from when we began the meditation, just noticing whether anything's different, and certainly nothing has to be. Just practicing our observation skills, since that's what we're practicing when we meditate. Now we're going to move to the body scan. We're going to begin at the tips of our toes, moving all the way up through the body. With each body part, you're going to notice what you're experiencing there, but physiological sensations. Notice they may be neutral. You may not feel anything. You may have a positive sensation there. Or maybe if it's someplace that you're usually free of pain, you're like, oh, that's good. Kind of like when you've taken your Tylenol or whatever and your headache disappears. And you never really took a moment to celebrate that your headache disappeared, but you had been suffering just 20 minutes ago. And so now it's like, hey, that's pretty nice. My head isn't hurting anymore. So it can be positive in that way, just that we notice that we're no longer in pain. And then, of course, if you feel tension or discomfort, we're going to relax the muscles in that area, send our breath there to help it move along in our body, run its course, similar to the idea of letting go of something with your breath. So, starting with the tips of your toes and then moving up to your ankles for now. And then moving from your ankles up to your knees and all the area surrounding your knees. And then moving up from your knees all the way up to the rest of your upper legs, relaxing, releasing, softening where you can. And then to get that last little bit of our lower body, we're going to focus on our pelvic region, our glutes, our hips. You may notice that if you're feeling some discomfort and you pay closer attention to it, often it's hard to hold on to. Our mind starts wandering or the sensation starts to dissipate. It moves around. It's elusive. And that's really kind of what we're going for. It's in resisting the pain that we exacerbate it and keep it around longer than it wants to be around. Okay, so now that we've reached the halfway point, we're going to move up our torso, but we're going to begin with our back, starting with the lower back and then moving slowly at your own pace up to the middle back and the upper back, the back of your shoulders. Since back pain is often very common, tied to psychological distress, as well as causes psychological distress, since we need our back to do everything. And if you notice pain in your neck and the back of your shoulders, the upper body, that's actually because our chest muscles are too tight, because we're so rounded over our computer and our gadgets, or if you're reading a book. So the pain is never actually where the point of distress is. And this is one of the reasons we try to sit with our shoulders down and back, opening our chest a little bit to try to counteract some of that rounding. Now we're going to flip over and go down the front of our torso. Again, beginning with that chest, the front of your shoulders. See if you can maybe open up a little bit. Often in yoga, these movements are called heart openers. They're very vulnerable positions because, in a way, I guess, when we're hunched over, we're trying to guard our hearts. And so then when we open it up, sometimes emotions are triggered without us even knowing why, and people will cry. That's how closely the mind and body are related. So keep moving down your torso until you get to your waist. Then once you've reached your waist, we're going to go back up to the neck and shoulders. Again, just noticing any tension or discomfort here, because the neck is also a part of that position of hunching over something. And it might be nice to maybe periodically throughout the day make sure that you are, rolling your shoulders and maybe stretching out your neck a little bit to release some of that tension a little bit every few hours or so, if you think about it. And then we're going to start our final ascent into the head, beginning with the lower back of the head above our neck, and then moving slowly upward to the crown of our head, softening, releasing, and relaxing where you can. Now we're going to go down to our face, noticing our forehead and eyebrows. There can be tension there often. Our eyes, where we could be squinting, our jaw, teeth, lips, or we could be grinding our teeth or just tightening our jaw. Our chin too. And then once you've finished checking in with your face, we're going to do, instead of a scan, we're just going to do a whole body gestalt kind of check-in, where we're just checking in with our body as a whole, noticing any remaining areas of tension or discomfort, softening, relaxing, breathing through those areas, and then just checking in where your body is now compared to before we started the scan. Without judgment, without criticism, just noticing, not comparing or judging. And now we're going to move to sending compassion. It can be helpful, if it's comfortable for you, to put your hand on your heart. And if you're in a lot of pain, you can even put both hands on your heart. And this is the gesture that warms up the heart in the same way that we warm up the breath by inhaling and exhaling through our nostrils. And again, compassion means suffering with. So when we practice self-compassion, we are practicing being with ourselves, sitting with ourselves in our pain. And when we practice compassion, we practice being with others in their pain. I often describe it as when you're talking to someone and they're very distressed, and maybe you just take your hand and you gently put it on their shoulder or on their arm, maintaining eye contact with them, not saying anything. But in that not saying anything, there is a lot that you are communicating to them, that you are there, that you are listening, that they can keep talking, and you're not going anywhere. You're not going to tell them what to say, what to feel, what to do. You're just letting them know that you understand. So this is what we're going to be doing. So as usual, we're going to start with ourselves. So if there is something that is weighing on your heart, or if there was something that was weighing on your heart that had been unresolved, even if it's from far back, if you'd like, I'd like you to call that memory to the forefront of your mind and see if you can embody it, feel it, notice the physiological sensations of it, access the thoughts that you were experiencing in that moment. And then once you have that moment, I'd like you to say to yourself what you would say to a good friend or someone you love. Say the thing that you wished that someone who loved you had said to you in that moment, because we have the power to do that, to say the exact thing that we need to hear. And for everyone else, it's a guessing game because they can't read our minds. Maybe they can feel our energy, but they can't know us as well as we know ourselves. So, this is a gift that we can give to ourselves. This is a way to empower ourselves when we are in pain by saying, doing, asking, not doing exactly what we need. Now I'd like you to call to mind someone who you love dearly who is in pain. And again, see if you can embody their pain. Notice what it feels like in your body to know that they're hurting, what feelings it brings up for you, what thoughts it brings up for you, what urges it inspires in you or brings out in you that you're not particularly fond of. And now that you have the time and the space to be mindful in your response to them, tell them what you'd like them to know. Tell them in your own words that you are suffering with them for as long as they are suffering. And you're not going to try to rush them through it. And now for our last one, we're going to call upon all sentient beings. Although if there is a particular group that you'd like to focus on, please do so. Our country, the earth, maybe particular groups of people who are being singled out, people, animals, plants, the atmosphere, whatever that you know is hurting. And do the same thing. Communicate to those sentient beings that you are here with them in their suffering, and you are sending them compassion. You are sending them your healing energy in solidarity, because as fellow sentient beings, we all have to experience pain and suffering. Now just take a moment to notice where your breath and where your body and when your heart and where your mind is compared to when you start the meditation. Again, no expectations of change, just practicing our ability to observe, sharpening our skills, doing our mindfulness workout. And then maybe take a few deeper inhales and exhales than usual. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and turn your attention back to the room.